What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Travis and I produce content for homeowners and new HVAC technicians, teaching you everything you need to know about heating and air. And on today's service call, what we're going to be doing is replacing a condenser coil for a Trane gas pack. And let me tell you, this thing is huge when you see it. It took up the whole back of my van. So guys, if you want to see how I do it, stay tuned and I'll meet you over at the furnace. Okay. Here is the unit we're replacing. I was mistaken. I thought this was going to be a gas pack, but this is actually a package heat pump. So this is the condenser coil. Your condenser coil is behind this little black thing here. So what we're going to need to do first is we're going to need to remove the top. We're going to need to probably need to remove these black pieces here. We're going to turn off the power and basically get to removing some screws. So let me get my screw gun ready and let's get started. Okay, I got the screws out of the top, and what I'm going to need to end up doing is taking my condenser fan motor wires loose because it's holding the top on. Once we take the wires out, we can pull them through, and I can take this whole top and actually set it to the side. So where our condenser fan motor wires come out is right down here where your compressor compartment is. You got a black, a purple, and a brown. So what we want to do is we want to take these wires loose, and now what we can do is take this whole top, pull the wires through, and we can set that that top right over. So let's go ahead and do that. Alright, so these are our wires here where we took loose. Now you've got these little pieces here. They're braces that go right around in here to hold that top steady. So one of our braces came off here. So for right now we'll just set that over. But here is our condenser coil. And as you can see, it runs around the top of this package unit. And this is what we're going to be replacing. There's a leak in this coil here. So what we're going to do now is find out where our coil welds into, where weld joints are that to put this new coil in. And I think if you see, I see one of the leaks right here. I don't know if you can see that's where it's rubbed. I didn't perform the whole leak search on here, so I don't know if anything else is leaking, but I definitely see a part right here where this was leaking. So what we're going to do is we'll get our new coil, we're going to bring it around and find out where everything welds into. Alright, here is our new coil. I'm going to tell you, bringing this thing around by myself was a job. Now Carrier has a unit sort of like this that goes around, and they do theirs in two pieces where you have one that goes in the back, one that goes in the front. But this, I guess with the Trane, it's the first time I'm replacing one of those. This is all one condenser coil setup. Now what I was talking about, where we want to find out where it gets welded into, you can see right here, this is the connection for our high side and our low side to get everything welded in. So we found where everything is. Now we need to go back over here to our unit itself, find where that is, and we find there's the U-bend right here. We got a section right here and a section right here for our high side. So this is where we need to either sweat it out or cut it and get everything connected into. So this has got a TXV. Our other coil has a TXV as well. So we need to remove this bulb and then start taking this thing out. Our bulb was in with just a metal clamp, so we can take that bulb off. Okay, we don't have to remove the external equalizer because that's going to be on the part of the coil that we're taking out, which is, this is our external equalizer. Goes into here. You're going to have another little screw here that holds our filter dryer in, which that's going to be replaced. This right here also has, on the new coil, it's got a sensor. I think this is our defrost sensor, which is right here, and you see the wires run. Right now what we're going to do, because the other coil comes with a sensor in it as well, we're just going to cut these wires. Come down here, we will pull the wires through, and that way, you know, just in case, it makes it very easy to know where these wires hook up to. But this sensor has a little Molex plug on it, so it probably hooks up, you know, directly to our defrost board. So now all we have to do is we need to cut this here, and hopefully this coil will just pull straight out. Alright, now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be cutting our copper lines that hold our coil in. And what I'm doing is I'm cutting probably about a half an inch or an inch just above where it's sweated in. So basically, once we cut it, we can take the coil off. If I want to, I could take a pair of channel locks, grab a hold to that piece of copper, heat around here and pull it out, and we can sweat it in. So we're going to see how we want to do that. So we're going to go ahead and cut this line. And just so you know, this coil was completely out of freon when I got here, so we didn't have to do an evacuation or anything. So that's why I probably would have skipped that step anyway. But that's the reason why we didn't have to do that. So it's hard to do with one hand. But let me tighten this up. Let me get another hand. And now we want to just cut our high side line. And this should be the only weld connections that are holding this coil in. Once we get this, we should be able to pull this coil straight up and out. Okay, so we got that. And so just so you know, there's another little wire connection that comes up from our compressor compartment. It's a little sensor right here. You need to pull this off of the coil. It came attached to this line here, which is just sticks through the coil, and it just attaches right on. So you want to take that off as well. So let me get both hands, and let's see if we can get this coil out of here. So there's our old coil, completely out. See, these are our lines that came in, and you see here's the other little, that's how they set up. We didn't have to take the black panels off around the side. So now what we got to do is take our new coil and lay it right in here. So let's go ahead and see if we can do that. Coil's a little bent up from shipping. Alright, I'm going to try to bend this coil and get a little bit more straighter. I'll bring it back, but you can see, before I do that, you can see here's our connections where we weld in, so we want to make sure they're lined up. So let me try to straighten this coil up a little bit. Okay, I've got this coil as straight as I can possibly can, but just to show you a little bit, I got the pipes together just to make sure that all our stuff comes out. I'm gonna sweat these little parts out. I'm gonna stick it in here, and this is where I'm gonna weld it. And basically, this is pretty much it to getting this coil in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and sweat these in, and I'll bring you back in a second and we'll start putting this thing back together. Okay, I got everything welded in. What I did is I put a little bit of nitrogen in my system and checked the weld joints with soap bubbles just to make sure we had no leaks, and we don't, so everything's good to go. So now basically what we're going to need to do is first take our sensor. Let's go ahead around. Here is our sensor wire for our defrost sensor, and basically what we're going to do is we're going to pull that through our hole here, and we're going to go ahead and wire up our flame sensor with this new coil. That was those two wires here that we cut earlier. If you remember, we cut those wires. So we're going to go ahead and hook that up. So we'll run that wire through. Okay, that defrost sensor wire, I pulled it through right here on our cabinet. You've got another little hole here. Pull through, and here's our sensor right here on our defrost control. We want to hook that up just like so. And our next connection, we want to hook back, not to come off. We have this little wire connection here that sticks into the back of the coil. Here's where the little connector just pushes through our coil into where the coil goes together, and it just wraps around like that. That's really basically all it is. So guys, we've got everything together. This thing right here wants to keep falling apart, but just wants to be aggravating. So now all we got to do is we can go ahead and put our top on. That's going to take two hands, so I'm going to probably not film that, but I'll bring you back as I get the top set. Because like I say, it's going to be really hard to get those little brackets in the grooves, and while I fight with that, I'll bring you back and see how aggravating that is. Okay guys, I got the top back on. I tell you, that was a little rough. I don't know if you can see down in there, but the little braces, you got three on this top, is lining those up with that hole. That was kind of hard to get done by yourself, but we got the top on, so now all we're going to do is basically go in reverse. One thing I did miss and I forgot to get on camera is, you remember the TXV is installed with this. We took the bulb off the old TXV. Just remember to make sure and put your bulb, it comes already supplied with this coil. You don't have to weld anything. TXV is already there. You just unroll the bulb, place it in the exact spot your old TXV was. So just make sure you don't forget that, like I almost did. So I'm going to go ahead and start popping the screws into the top, and let's see if we can get this thing all together. Okay, we got our top on. Now the next thing we want to do is, remember we took our condenser wires off to take that top off. So what we're going to do, we've got our black, our purple, and a brown, and we just match it up to the black, purple, and brown. So now we got everything hooked up, everything soldered in. We got our fan hooked back up. We got our sensor hooked back up. Now all we got to do is pull a vacuum on it. I'm pretty sure there's no leaks because we checked it with nitrogen. So I'm going to go ahead and pull a vacuum. Once I get done, I'll bring you back once we start it up and make sure everything works. Alright guys, we got the heat pump turned on. We got our vacuum pulled. We got everything charged up with freon. Basically, I skipped the vacuum and the freon part. Hey, I've got to promote my videos somehow, so go check out my videos on how to pull a vacuum and how to charge a system correctly. But anyway, that's above and beyond what this video is for. The coil's in, everything's working fine. So this system is back up and heating again. So guys, I hope you learned something today. I tried to take you step by step on how to replace a condenser coil. Really not that hard. The biggest thing was putting it in and taking it out, because that thing, at least I'm not a big guy, so that was huge for me to do by myself. You had to get creative on how to do it. So guys, like I say, I hope you learned something, and if you did, please hit that like and subscribe button. It means so much to me. And as always, I will see you on the very next service call I go to. Bye guys.